Hi everyone and welcome to the Child Protection Party YouTube channel. Just as a reminder as to who we are.
Children's lives are important, and we at the Child Protection Party want the best outcome for all children.
So one of the issues which we hear a lot about at the Child Protection Party, particularly in relation to the number of children that are removed. So there seems to be a proportion of kids in our community that are removed from their families simply because they come from a low socioeconomic grouping. Now, this has been a problem that we have been talking about for years now, and one which never ever gets addressed. But the issue that is of primary importance these days seems to be the number of children that are increasingly being removed. So with the billions of dollars that's spent on child protection Australian-wide, one wonders why it is that the system is never able to address the increasing influx of children into this damaging system, and therefore the number of parents who suffer as a result of losing their children. Now, there are some interesting statistics that are often produced, particularly by the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare. And they're worth noting because this is the government telling us exactly what the status is in relation to child protection. And this should be a concern for all of us, no matter who we are, because I am telling you, at any particular time, you may get a knock on the door telling you that you are a lousy parent or a lousy grandparent or a lousy aunt or uncle if you've got care of the kids, because you come from a low socioeconomic background, you're uneducated, you have, according to the department, you have all the indicators of someone who will not be able to care for children simply because you don't come from the stratosphere, the well-to-do, the people who occupy the middle and upper class, who have got money and influence and are never ever viewed as inappropriate parents. You know, the people who live in the wealthiest suburbs in this country have just as many issues around child protection and looking after children as does anybody else. The problem is that those parents are never identified simply because they have the wealth and the money to hide the abuse that they cause their children. So we, or those of you that sit in another area, another class of person, if you like, you need to be mindful of the fact that someone at some point may knock on your door telling you that you're a crappy parent. But the problem is that the situation does not improve, that there are not services offered that should be offered to people like yourselves in relation to how you should care for and look after children. The system is interested only in removing children from you, is not necessarily interested in trying to keep those children with you. And this is the battle that we have in order to be able to assure that the families who are struggling are able to care for their kids. Now, in the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, there is some interesting stats that I just wanted to point out to you, because these indicate to us all the nature of the problem, and that this is a problem which never ever gets resolved, ever. And that is the number of kids that are being removed at an exponential rate. So the number of kids being removed increases each year to a point whereby one wonders whether any parent will be able to have a child at all, because they'll all be removed. But at the moment, it seems to be getting worse. And these statistics here, in 2022 to 23, about 180,000 children came into contact with the system. Remember, they would also be kids from multiple kids from families, I guess, an increase from about 178,000 in 2021-22. Now, these figures are not going down. Between 30th of June 2019 and 30th of June 2023, the rate of children out of home care remained stable around 8% per 1,000. Now, the point there is that even though it's remained stable, it has not decreased. So there's nothing being done. So the percentage has remained stable, but the number of children that have been removed have increased. Because even though this figures say that it's stable, it doesn't, because the population is increasing, obviously the number of children also would increase. In 2023, 39% of First Nations children leaving out of home care were reunified with their family. Now, the interesting thing about that is that it's only 39%. So when we compare that, though, with the statistics next to it, 85% of children that were reunited with their family in 2021-22 did not return to out-of-home care in the next 12 months. Those figures are actually different for Indigenous kids, where a lot of those children get returned back to the system. So the thing to remember is that the First Nations children are removed at a greater rate, that that there's a percentage of children that are reunified with their family, and they do not return to the system. The important thing to note about that is that those children should probably never have been removed in the first place, because the trauma that's associated with removing a child is extreme. You can imagine what it'd be like for a child. Any of you who haven't encountered this problem in the system would be able to understand what it must be like for the child to be removed from the family. Now, there's no compensation for that removal. There's no acknowledgement that the removal should not have been made in the first place. The system does not allow for mistakes to be acknowledged, and this is important to understand. Now, the point that I want to make today is that at the Child Protection Party, the CPP offers an opportunity for people like yourself to talk about the issues that matter to you, to have conversations with people at CPP who are invested in solving the problem, so that we can acknowledge that the system is not improving, and we can certainly become a voice for those of you who do encounter the system and whose children have been removed. We also offer a voice to those of you that are simply concerned about the number of children that are being removed, about children in general, and how we're not caring for or nurturing them in a variety of ways, whether it be through our education system, through our medical system, through mentoring programs, through drug and alcohol, through social media, through the lack of resources available in terms of youth suicide and youth mental health. There's a whole host of areas in which the Child Protection Party is involved. You could be a voice for kids, not just in the child protection system, but in protecting kids generally from the issues that they have to face as they're growing up. So support us, support the Child Protection Party. In particular, subscribe to our channel, because it's really important that if you subscribe and if you share our posts and if you let other people know about what the Child Protection Party does, then it will help us. It will help, even at the end of the day, hopefully, to finance what it is that we do. So please subscribe to our channel, ring the bell for further notifications, and so on. And also remember that the Child Protection Party is there for you, and it's there to help you to protect not just your children, but children in general. Thanks for being with us. Take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, keep you and the people that you love safe.
Children's lives are important, and we at the Child Protection Party want the best outcome for all children.